In January 1966, the musical Sweet Charity opened on Broadway. It starred Gwen Verdon. Direction and choreography was by five-time Tony Award winner Bob Fosse. It was inevitable that for Sweet Charity, the next stop would be Hollywood. That is our story. Sweet Charity and director Bob Fosse came to Universal together. Millions were to be spent on the production, but Bob Fosse had never before directed a motion picture. It was an awesome assignment.
I'd come into the studio on Saturdays and Sundays. It was usually quite deserted. And then I'd wander onto one of those big empty sound stages and, well, just start thinking about the picture. I'd fool with a prop, do a dance step or two, try to line up a shot, mainly attempt to put my rather vague ideas into some sort of workable order. First day of shooting. The set seemed enormous, fully 4 times as large as any New York stage. There seemed to be an army of technicians waiting for me to give an order of some kind. I finally managed to stutter to Bob Surtees, the cameraman and a great artist, where I would like the camera and approximately in what direction I wanted to point it. I think I fully expected him to throw up his arms, but he didn't. He just nodded and went to work. It gave me my first small moment of confidence. That face gave me many more moments of confidence. Every time I'd look at Shirley MacLaine, who plays Sweet Charity, I'd see a circus of gaiety and hope, kindness, hurt, bewilderment. I knew that if we could get some of these qualities, we'd be okay.
I suppose in order to portray her well, the author had to write her as a victim of society, etc., so she comes out a taxi dancer. But the thing I love about her is this incessant optimism of hers. Nothing ever gets her down. The sadness of her and the pathos of her is that she smiles and sees joy regardless of the mud she's thrown in.
Could I have the play back up a little bit, please?
Right.
And when I find me some kind of life I can live, I'm gonna get up. I'm gonna get out. I'm gonna get up, get out, and live.
Just in size and pure numbers alone, the difference between stage and screen is enormous. On stage, we had a cast of 29. It's true that some of these played 6 or 8 roles, but the picture has a cast counting dancers and extras of approximately 500. On the stage, you can suggest, imply, screen audiences want just a little bit more realism. For instance, on stage, the show opened with our heroine, Charity, supposedly being pushed into a lake in Central Park. Actually, what happened was that she fell onto a foam rubber mattress and then sprinkled herself with a few drops of water from a hidden pail. Here's the way the scene plays in the picture.
Since I like you very much, so very, very much, I'm gonna give it to... I wish...
I would guess the big spender number with the dance hall hostesses was probably the most difficult number to translate to screen term. It played well on stage, I think, because I lined the girls up along the rail, staged a lot of movement and business for them, and then allowed the audience to decide for themselves where they wanted to look, at which particular girl, at which particular moment. Now, the camera had to choose for them. The camera had to pick that particular face or that piece of business. We were constantly concerned as to whether we were making the correct choice. Is everybody ready just for me to sing one?
Yeah.
The minute you walk in the joint, far up, I could see you were a man of distinction, a real big spender. No. Good looking, so refined. Wow, say, wouldn't you like to know what's going on in my mind? So let me get right. It's a stretch to get this far.
The minute you walked in the joint, I could see you were a man of distinction, a real big spender. Good looking, so refined.
Of course, shooting a film, particularly a dance number on location, can be both a headache and a joy. And since we spent fully 12 weeks on location in New York City, we had a full share of both. The headache part is the concern about losing sunshine, keeping spectators out of shots, and worrying whether one of your dancers is going to sprain an ankle in one of those bumps in New York City streets. The joy is, of course, being able to use Wall Street, Lincoln Center, Central Park, Times Square, Yankee Stadium as sets. These would not be easy sets to get on a stage.
She's a breastband, she's a harpsichord, she's a clarinet.
That's me.
She's the Philadelphia Orchestra. She's a modern jazz quartet.
On stage for the Rhythm of Life number, like the wardrobe test you see here, we had 2.5 cars, some tires, and a couple of small oil cans. For the screen, we had 50 cars, about 15 times as much space, and about 50 more dancers, and one of my favorite performers, Sammy Davis Jr.
Take a dive and swim to your daddy. Hit the floor and rock you, daddy.
Daddy, we've got the rhythm of life, of life, of life, of life.
Yeah! Yeah! Let me hear it! Yeah! Rock it to me!
I had been fairly comfortable with stage techniques, and now I was thrust into an entirely different way of looking at things. However, the more involved I became with film, the more fascinated I became. Good or bad, stage direction has certain conventions, certain restrictions. In film, however, the only limitations that I've discovered are the limitations in the director's head. I believe it was Oscar Wilde who once said of a project, "The anxiety is unbearable. I hope it lasts forever." Well, that's pretty much the way I feel about directing movies.